In my garden there were real swing lords, but they turned out to be too tiny. They can't even handle one spider. Fortunately, my finger came in time to save them. Damn, I fell, all in the mud. If I knew, I would have stabbed him with a twig. Hee hee, what kind of monster is this? Even we 9 great wise men, united our forces, could not resist this magic of chaos magic, and had destroyed it in one moment. Thank you, Elder, for saving me. Dare to ask, Elder, what kind of lord are you from the kingdom of the immortals? We are spellbinders, risen from the underworld. If you don't mind, Elder, I wish to join your clan. I beg you, accept me. This is not just the greatest gift of fate. This is our only chance to survive in the kingdom of the immortals. The fate of the elders who rose before us and found themselves at the world tree serves as a bitter lesson for us, even though I am beautiful. But still, please accept me, Elder. I agree even to the darkest work next to you, the head of Theclan. Lord, I am mortally ill, and soon I will give up my skates. Ordinary man, and that's it. I don't have any clan, and I'm not a lord. These were ordinary words, but for little men they sounded like a roar of thunder. They got even more scared. Falling on their knees, they prayed to each other. Please, Elder, accept us. We are ready to serve you with faith and truth, even if we do not become your disciples. I'm note some important bump there, but you don't have to worry. I will try to protect you. And what about service? We'll talk about that later. The other little men also hastily nodded in agreement. In their eyes, I, without a doubt, was an incredibly powerful being. The opportunity to serve me was a great honor for them. And what to call these little men to yourself is a rather funny thought. Otherwise, some small creature will kill them again. It will be a pity. I, of course, am not some important person there, but I will try to protect you. Hearing his promise, the little men felt that in this world they had finally found solid ground under their feet. The tension fell, and completely exhausted, they began to faint one after another. Hey, what's wrong with you? Have they really died? I reached out to touch them, but I was afraid that I would not count my strength and crush them. Therefore, at first I freed those little men who got entangled in a web and released them. And then I ordered them to check what was wrong with their comrades. Go see what's wrong with your comrades. Yes, sir. Chen Feng put the bread on the ground. But in the eyes of the little men, Chen Feng's movement looked simply incredible. His whole hand was like a pillar supporting the heavens, and the huge palm with the bread, which descended down, seemed like a falling meteorite. What a monstrous power. I'm afraid in the lower world, one of his careless blows could have destroyed the whole country. Thank you great for this gift. We are immensely grateful to you. You are welcome. Eat, do not rush. Chen Feng took them in his palm. And then he sent a message to the little men. He said, if ya want to hear the conversation of the immortal, something will come to light. The immortal smiled. Thank you, the immortal, for saving us. We swear to follow you to the Viridath. Do not worry about some piece of bread. By the way, it is quite dangerous for you to live here. Snakes, insects, rats, or ants can attack you. Let me move you to another place. Everything at your discretion, the immortal. Chen Feng took them in his palm. And then he went home, but it was worth it to take them only 3 meters from the tree. As the little men's bodies began to dry up rapidly, the life forces quickly left them. Immortal, what's going on? We need to get them back to their place as soon as possible. It seems that you cannot leave the limits of this tree. The inability to join the Chen Feng clan greatly upset the little men, but they could only accept their fate. What to do since they are so weak and cannot leave this world tree? This tree, it is clearly not simple. Is spiritual energy really returning to our world? Spiritual energy is returning. Chen Feng went to the forum and asked a worrying question in one of the discussions. Soon he received a whole bunch of answers. And you didn't have flying little men next to the house. Well, you know, like in novels about spells that fly through the sky and pass through Thearth. Immortals with swords, rulers of demons, fairies, and all that. And among these little men of yours there is a spellcaster. If there is, you can check her body composition for me. Exactly, check out this immortal lady. I wonder if they have the same body structure as we do or not. Completely stupid answers. No help. If spiritual energy has not returned to Earth, then these little men are in the garden. Does this mean that I am the only one who has them? The next day I came to the garden again. I could not imagine that in just one night. Wow, these little men have already built tofu themselves. Amazing, they are just improving. If I could also possess the powers of the immortals, then there would be a chance to be cured of me mortal illness. An honorable immortal you have come. Well, in general, I just wanted to ask, could you teach me your technique of improvement? Immortal Elder, I'm sorry, do you want our technique of improvement? No, just you are such a powerful elder. Are you a fool or something? Maybe the elder just wants to look up. No, in fact, I want to practice your technique. The thing is, in this world there are no methods of improvement, and your methods seem to me quite interesting. Therefore, I want to try. Ah, so that's the point. We do not know what kind of embodiment you have, Elder, in our technique. For each type of embodiment there is its own approach. Therefore, it will be better if we give you all the methods, and you, Elder, choose the right one yourself. Okay, Chen Feng began to act according to the instructions of the little men. Chen Feng bowed his head. The fairy Kunlun was the first to pass on her technique to him, the sword Kunlun. A tiny dot of light flew right into Chen Feng's eye. At the same moment, this dot of light turned into a stream of knowledge of improvement, and it flowed into Chen Feng's mind. He seemed to have realized something. But at the same time, everything was very vague. And what now? I don't feel anything at all. It looks like I shouldn't have hoped. The techniques of these little men. Can they approach Somyeon, who is about to die from a disease? It's okay, I did everything I could, the rest is in the hands of heaven. Do not blame yourself for not being able to help me. And the elder turns out to be very kind. Okay, that's it. Continue your improvement. And I'll go, I have things to do. Wait, elder, if you immortal wish you can try. Still, you will die soon, now you can take a risk. What if there is some kind of chance? Okay, give me your technique. Immortal, please sit straight, act, but don't get confused. Immortal, please sit straight, act, but don't get confused, 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 act, but don't get confused. Act, but don't get confused, 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 unexpectedly a little weakened. If I continue to cultivate like this, then perhaps my cancer will be completely cured. Immortal elder, your base reaching speed is already very good. An ordinary person would take much more time. What cultivation level have I reached now? Did I break through to the first level of seas condensation? Well, judging by their reaction, I certainly did not break through to the level of seas condensation. Immortality should not be discouraged. There are too few substances in this world that are suitable for cultivation, or the laws of this world differ from the laws of the lower world. The fact that the speed of cultivation is low is normal. The main thing is that the immortal senior felt that he was becoming stronger, but you cannot worry. Cultivation is a long process. It takes time to mature. The fact that the body becomes healthier is already good. At least there is a way to defeat the mortal disease. In recent days, I realized one thing compared to the issues of life and death. Everything else in the world is trifles, whether it is a breakup, the loss of someone, or the loss of a job. Parted, you can find another person. Lost a job, you can find another. Lost friends, you can get new ones. Only if life has gone, then it can no longer be returned. In his stomach, Chen Feng suddenly grumbled, I'll go have a snack, wait here. Having said that, Chen Feng rushed to the kitchen. He cooked as many as 3 huge bowls of noodles, fried 10 eggs. He cooked a whole pack of noodles, giving a little to little men. Chen Feng sent everything else to his stomach, and even so, ate only 80%. All the food is over. I'll have to come up with something tomorrow. I'll go to the city and buy everything I need. Today was 2 months since he parted with his ex. Perhaps this is the best day of my life, or one might say for the last few years. I am truly happy for the first time. Earlier when I was sway, I was morally exhausted. The body was also exhausted from endless work. In general, I was not happy at all. Perhaps for both of us, parting was the best choice. Saturated to the brim, Chen Feng no longer hesitated. He immediately fell asleep in anticipation of tomorrow's training, and at that time in Chen's family house, Sway, boiling with anger, could not fall asleep. This Chen Feng is so clingy. We broke up and he still gets my parents. He thinks it will make me come back. This only causes me even more disgust. I will never forgive him for this, and I will not come back. One day Chen Feng woke up at dawn. He went to the town to buy some items of first necessity and then returned home to continue training. He was completely absorbed in this practice, improving his body. Today, for one cycle, took an hour less than yesterday. It seems as the body becomes stronger and the more cycles I drive, the inner force in my body spends less and less time on each revolution. Now my body has become a little stronger. A few more days of training, and I probably will not be weaker than an ordinary person. We ordinary people are delighted. Your speed of improvement is simply amazing. You are truly a genius of geniuses, one in a million in the world of improvement. Well, this is an exaggeration. I know that I still have a long way to go. The honorable gentleman is too modest. In fact, the rest of the servants also believed that Chen Feng's talent for improvement was simply monstrous. In just 2 days, the pressure coming from Chen Feng became so strong that they could barely breathe. Such progress, they from the bottom of their hearts considered Chen Feng a genius. This is not a blind leap. Oh yes, it's time to have dinner. I bought meat today. Now I will feed you all properly. He went to the kitchen and cooked rice, prepared a plate of scrambled eggs with tomatoes, pork fried with green pepper, and also a soup with cabbage and tofu. All this is an ordinary homemade dish. He brought all this to the garden and began to eat with the little men. The little men ate very little. Chen Feng ate almost everything. Still, there is too little energy in it. It looks like you need to add more high protein and nutritious food. For example, beef. Chen Feng didn't like that there was little energy in the food. But the little men all blushed like one, and their whole body was on fire. Oh, there is too much energy in this food. It seems, will burst now. This food is even more nutritious than the one that was before. Are you okay? Just some scrambled eggs with tomatoes, and the usual pork with pepper. Yes, you can just burst from this. Yes, don't exaggerate. Oh, immortal mentor, don't worry. We just got greedy and ate too much. As soon as everything is digested, it will get better. See, this is a great chance. If we can digest it, then our strength will increase. As expected from the world of the immortal, any of their usual food for us is the most powerful healing snack. It allows you to instantly restore strength and increase the level of improvement. Only if you eat too much, you can burst from excess energy. The immortal mentor eats this every day. It is not surprising that he is so terribly strong. With only one physical strength, he is able to crush anything. Immortal. There are a lot of such things in the world of the immortal and in the direct, which we do not understand. What kind of world is this in fact? I can't think of any creatures capable of living in such a world. 9 little men barely got up on their feet. They sat down on the ground, crossing their legs, and directed their energy to digest the eaten food. 10 minutes later, the little men finally gained strength within themselves. The nameless immortal swordsman woke up. How are you? In order. The majestic voice of Chen Feng thundered over their heads, echoing throughout the sky. Thank you for your care, immortal mentor. I'm fine. Not only did I master the power I received, but my level of improvement also grew a little. In the lower world, our development stopped. I did not expect that in the kingdom of the immortals it would really move from the dead end. Thank you, immortal mentor. A thick, immortal fog. And such immense gratitude, but this was just homemade food, and these little men took it for our wonderful treat. What modest requests they have. Little gods and demons gradually came to their senses. They felt the power burbling inside them and could not contain their delight. They all became stronger. Chen Feng also felt it, the aura of these little men, although in fact I do not feel anything, but the glow coming from them became a little brighter, so they probably became stronger. But why does it seem to me that I can still crush them with own finger? Seeing that the little men woke up, Chen Feng realized that there was no need to stand guard and talked a little with them. The little men, of course, were immensely grateful to Chen Feng, but Chen Feng did not give this meaning. He went to do his business. At first he wanted to continue meditating. But having thought about it, he realized that one heavenly cycle would take him time until deep night, and without rest it is impossible. Therefore he abandoned this idea. Having freed himself, he felt that he had nothing to do. Therefore he just took a hammer and began to rake the ground in the yard. I became stronger and my physical strength also increased. Before I began to improve, I was tired, even just mowing the grass. And now it has become surprisingly easy to dig the ground. Interestingly, my mortal illness has also passed. Somehow, when there is time, it will be necessary to go to the hospital and check. After that, Chen Feng in one breath dug up all the ground around the house. Others improve, fighting people and demons, fighting the heavens, the earth and fate itself. They fight for the great path. Their battle is like walking on a narrow bridge. There are fierce battles and bloodshed everywhere, and I am improving, just digging the ground. If they find out about this, other people who are improving will simply laugh at me. Fortunately, in this world, it seems, no one is doing improvement. I am the only one. In the following days, he continued to improve. He was digging weeds. He was digging not only the ground around the house. There were many abandoned plots next to him. Every day was filled with work. During this time, Uncle's family rarely came to visit him, but they never stayed for long. No one else came. And there were no messages on the phone. Chen Feng became stronger and stronger, but to his dismay, he still could not make a breakthrough. He still has not reached the first level, and you guys are good actors, but you can't fool me, Chen. Fallen creatures are a synonym for treachery and insidiousness. All of you are masters of intrigue. You are too cunning, and now look at your pitiful faces. What fallen creatures will make such faces? Ancient monsters who have lived for so many years pretend to be miserable. And how can I believe you? Tell me, is it possible to believe this? Sir, we are true from the bottom of our hearts. Believe us, please. We are really starving. Just give us a piece of food and we will submit to you forever. I admit we offended you then. We realized our mistake. Please don't torture us. Three fallen creatures have already reached such humiliating speeches. It seemed to them Thathi had never been so humiliated in their lives. In the world of Tsinkan, who would dare to humiliate them so? Usually it was others who were humiliated in front of them. It's been so many years. They have long forgotten what it is like to be humiliated. And since they forget how to ask for mercy, their prayers sounded unnatural. How dare you, three creatures, cross me and now you are still tied to me. Li Tsengchuan and the people of Kunlun Xingxi flew up to the huge leg of Chen Fen. Their aura instantly flashed in yellow, and they, pointing at the three fallen creatures, ordered them to stop, otherwise all three fallen creatures will be destroyed. The Trinity did not dare to say anything else, and all the more they did not dare to bother anymore. Over time, they realized that the 9 great saints were no longer the same as they were before. If they continue to bother, they can be erased into powder. Honorable immortal, there is no more sorrow than a dead heart. Chen Fen did not pay any attention to the three fallen creatures. A ghostly step, well, tell me. Oh, what the hell were you showing off then? Did you live in peace? I got one thing right, even if I die, I will not give up, and everything is in such a spirit. Are you sick or something? I myself regret that I was so stubborn. If only I had not spoken so categorically then. Now perhaps everything would be different. I blame myself for my short-sightedness. I myself drove myself into a dead end, in my youth for stupidity, and that's what it came to. Honorable immortal Eve thinks directly that we are so incorruptible. Even when we ask for mercy, he does not believe us. It remains only to lick and watch how others flatter for both cheeks. And they also praise like, how delicious. They write down what a divine food it is. It's just unbearable torture, and you can't even listen. Do you want to eat? If you want, then stop being stubborn. Surrender in a good way. Surrender, you will get treats. Don't give up, so you will continue to starve. You think we don't want to. We have already given up a long time ago. You just don't believe. And what can we do? Looking at the unyielding look of the three fallen creatures, who did not say a word, Qin Feng thought that he simply did not wake up today. As Aerosol, he could only take the plates with a sigh and leave. He used the night time to cleanse the body of inert substances. One day, Qin Feng, as usual, brought breakfast to Shenmalo Yuan. Shoo, he did not have time to enter the limit of the reach of a small tree, as 3 of the cowering fallen creatures ran up to him. Without paying any attention, they clung to Qin Feng's leg. Immortal, we give up, we really give up. Stop torturing us. We are afraid, if you don't give us food, we will really die of hunger. Please give us food, we are ready to pay any price. We sincerely submit to you. We would only like food and a roof over our heads. Just give me a piece and we are ready for anything. Qin Feng was simply stunned on the spot. And the 9 great saints saw such behavior of the fallen creatures for the first time. In the world of Qin Kun, they were incredibly arrogant and powerful, looking at how they, like man-eating animals, clung to him and did not let go. The 9 great saints thought that they were dreaming. These are definitely fallen creatures. Why are they not at all the way we remember them? Clung to the leg and do not let go. What kind of traps are they building again? Come on, let me go. We won't let you go. Either today the sufficient one will accept our surrender, or just kill us. It doesn't matter to die, it's better off your hands. We really won't make it to noon. We are so hungry, life force leaves our body. If we do not replenish energy, we will definitely die. We do not build any traps. If you do not believe, sir, you can check our body yourself. We really will die of hunger soon. If you do not believe, the Master can directly purify our essence of blood and take our fates under his control. You have been starving for less than 2 days. You gave up too easily. He did not know what it meant to purify the essence of blood. But seeing that the 9 great saints nodded, Chen Feng realized that it was the right thing to do. And where did your yesterday's arrogant look go? Something was said there about the fallen creatures will never become slaves, as long as they are not fed and provided with blood. Well, okay, I believe you, but there is no need to control your essence of blood. There is no need for such difficulties. If Yao decide to throw out some kind of trick, I can destroy you at any moment. You still won't be able to leave this place. Thank you, sir, we will never dare to deceive you. Finally, we can eat. How difficult it was. The 3 fallen creatures surrendered and now considered themselves. They could get food given by Chen Feng. Of course, because of their position, they could not immediately sit down at the table. I had to wait until Chen Feng and the 9 great saints would eat. It was a lesson for them, so that they understand, even if they bow, they will not be able to be on par with the 9 great saints. If you want to eat at the same table as everyone else, you need to do your best. In addition, it was a punishment for the 3 fallen creatures for their previous disrespectful behavior. The 3 fallen creatures looked with grade like Chen Feng and the rest. They finished eating. In their souls they were in great haste. Their mouths were constantly filled with saliva, but all they could do was stand and wait in the side. I'll wait until Chen Feng and the rest finish eating, and only then I'll eat myself, without thinking about whether it was offensive to them. Now they didn't have time for such thoughts. They just wanted to eat. They were looking forward to when Chen Feng and the rest would finish eating. During the meal, Chen Feng looked to their side with the edge of his eye. Seeing that the 3 fallen creatures were waiting obediently, he realized that these 3 fallen creatures seemed to be tame. The 3 of you can eat. Thank you, immortal. Hearing the order Black Killin, Black Dragon, and Black Phoenix, all three fallen creatures scattered in gratitude. They immediately ran up to the food and began to greedily devour it. Don't worry about decency at all, just an ordinary egg. But the three fallen creatures seemed as if they were eating the most delicious thing in the world. From one bite their eyes shone. How delicious. So that's the food in the world of the immortal. One egg was enough for them, Todget enough. Black Killin was huge, and the egg was the size of just the fist of an adult. One egg lay in front of them. But for them it was actually not that small. The appetite of the three fallen creatures was huge, but the three of them definitely could not eat a whole egg. The energy that was hidden in the egg did not cease to pleasantly surprise the three fallen creatures. This egg is a creature from the world of the immortal. It seems I began to understand some of the laws of the heavenly animals. It is able to awaken in our bodies the power of the original divine animals. And the heavens, what is it for? For the egg of the divine animal, for the three fallen creatures, this egg was incredibly useful, even more useful than for the 9 great wise men. After all, they themselves were animals by their nature. Black Killin bit off a piece of an egg white. The protein turned into energy, which flowed into all corners of his body. His fading life aura received an endless replenishment. In one moment, vitality returned to him. Tiredness in the whole body also disappeared. Such a long wait has finally paid off. This is my egg yolk. It has more energy. And the benefits for the Black Phoenix are even greater, even more than for the Black Dragon and Black Killin. After all, the egg is the very essence of the animal world. You could say they have one source. After eating only half of the egg, he suddenly gave birth to a baby. Everyone was surprised, just stunned. Qin Feng also thought it was a miracle. It looks like a common origin, and it gives an incredible advantage. The Black Dragon and the Black Killin, unlike the Phoenix, did not rise to a whole level right away, but they also benefited greatly. After eating to the point of exhaustion, this trinity, with great reluctance, withdrew. They were dreaming of a hungry egg. For them it was a real miracle cure. Realizing the full benefit of the egg, all the resentment in the hearts of the three fallen creatures immediately completely evaporated. Initially, when they obeyed Qin Feng, there was still some discontent in their hearts, a feeling as if they were humiliated. But as soon as the egg appeared, as this feeling completely disappeared in them, they received such a huge benefit. If in exchange for service they received such a thing, it is not that they would obey, they would have given themselves in service without questions. Thank you, the great immortal, for your gift. We are immensely grateful. After eating, the three fallen creatures bowed respectfully. They were conquered from the bottom of their hearts. It is not surprising that 9 great saints are ready to follow you. If we had known earlier that your food is so incredible, we would have joined you a long time ago. 3 great fallen creatures believed that they had wasted 2 days in vain. They were definitely not friends with their heads. If they had used these 2 days wisely, then now probably they would have become even stronger. Since you have decided to follow me, then from this moment we are one family. Find yourself a place somewhere near this tree. Live here. In fact, there are not so many rules here. If you want improve, live as you are used to. I will not interfere. As for the food, do not worry, it will always be in abundance. But at home, I'm afraid you will have to build it yourself. Honorable, do not worry. We have prepared for this. Having said that, the black hedgehog took out a small mountain. There were 9 peaks on it. The highest of them was about 1 to 1.5 meters in height. Having seen this, Qin Feng was stunned. This mountain of immortality in the lower world rose to the very clouds and spread to a width of thousands. Who would have thought that in the kingdom of the immortals it would decrease by itself? But that's enough for us. I did not think that this is the mountain of immortality. According to rumors, the mountain of immortality can move. Its aura is hidden by great power. Even the saints find it difficult to find its traces. It appears and disappears like a ghost, and today I saw it. This is the very forbidden zone, from one mention that once shuddered the entire universe. The forbidden zone which has settled the horror. They have never seen it. They unexpectedly managed to see it entirely in the kingdom of the immortals. If you friends who are improving are interested, you can also move to the mountain of immortality. We are Alone family, do not hesitate. There is no need for this. The 9 great saints were not interested in this. Seeing how they lay out their treasures, the 9 great saints regretted a little that they did not bring their homes here. Otherwise, they would have had excellent housing. But who knew that in the kingdom of the immortals everything would turn around like that? What a pity. The mountain is not bad, but in fact I am more interested in that magical artifact Ophias in which you kept it. This is something like a space ring, right? If there is such a thing, then I will go for the products, it's much easier. Hearing the words of Qin Feng, 3 fallen creatures, their self-contented faces immediately froze. Okay, let everything go in turn. But as I train, my appetite becomes more and more. It's time to go shopping for food. Seeds, rice, vegetables, meat, dairy products. Qin Feng made a list of purchases. I need to buy quite a lot of things. I can't carry it all alone. I need to go to my uncle and borrow a car from him. With a list in his hands, Qin Feng went to Tohai's uncle's house. Today paper came from the city hospital. They say Zyro Feng is sick. Yes, cancer too. He doesn't have much time left. It's not surprising that he decided to return to the village. so it wasn't just about parting with Aunt Sue. I wonder if Aunt Sue's family knows about it or not. What does it matter if they know or not? Zyro Feng is our child, and there is nothing else to get into this. As soon as you finish unloading, go see Zyro Feng right away. He must be very bad now. Oh, poor boy, how unhappy he is. He is so seriously ill and there is no one around. Hey, let's go visit Zyro Feng together later. It was not easy for him. At such a young age, he was left without parents, and now it happened to him too. Seeing the expression on their faces, the eyes of the 9 great saints lit up. They immediately bowed to the venerable elder. They have accumulated a whole eternity of treasure. They must have a lot of all kinds of good. Yes, yes, yes. In the whole kingdom of Qin, it is known that the fallen have the most treasures. If the venerable immortal will be interested, they will certainly gladly present them to you as a gift. The 9 great saints were enraged, and on the faces of the 3 fallen creatures there was a bitter expression. The spatial gems Thatzi had were one of the greatest treasures of the kingdom of Qin. A spatial gem of this level, a whole mountain of immortality can fit into it. Just imagine how incredible it is. I see you are in trouble. In fact, Chen Feng also does not like to take away from others what is dear to him. If you really feel so sorry to part with him, then you cannot give it away. We do not want to give it away, but Chen Feng sincerely asks, if we do not give it away, it will be somehow wrong. Yes, and that's right. The noble husband does not take away from others what is dear to him. Chen Feng took the tray and left. 3 fallen creatures remained indecisive. Chen Feng has already gone quite a long way. In fact, they were very worried in their souls. They were afraid that Chen Feng would take a revenge. But this spatial gem was too important for them, more important even than the Holy Night. This thing. They once gathered the forces of all kinds of fallen and spent countless years to create it. You could say it's a symbol of their race. Hey, idiots, and I thought that the fallen creatures are geniuses with outstanding intelligence. But it turned out that this is just a collection of idiots. I used to overestimate you with such a bear like you. If you did not rely on your dark arts and did not develop the fighting power surpassing the level of the saints, you would not have existed for a long time, still not people. Feeling 9 of the stifling looks on their faces, 3 fallen creatures immediately became furious. Only 9 saints of the human race. What right do you have to look at us from above? If you did not rise a step earlier, do you think you could defeat us? Yes, if you rose first. Probably even the immortal ancestors would not mess with you. You would either be destroyed by the demons of chaos, or you would have died of hunger, or you would have wandered into the forbidden land and died without a trace. The Kunlun fairy was more straightforward. One of the stifled laid 3 fallen. From the blow they staggered. It's a pity, but whoever came first is the main one. You can be angry, but it's useless. You came later, well then I'll teach you the rules. From this day on when we speak, you better listen obediently, otherwise you will be punished. From now on, if you dare to show disrespect to us, punishment, dare to dare us, punishment. The Kunlun fairy looked at the 3 fallen with contempt. The look off the black healing was full of rage. He looked fiercely at the Kunlun fairy. They did not submit, but in response they received onlafierce and a cruel suppression from the Kunlun fairy. If the elder Qin Feng did not say to leave, you are live. Do you think you could hold out until now? And you still dare to look at me with such a challenge? You're just getting into it, said the punishment. If there is a punishment, then there will be a punishment. In this world, the strong still devour the weak, and the word of Qin Feng is the law. And in theist, of course, the right of the voice is only with the strong, and so it coincided that this fairy is far from holy. She does not indulge in murder or robbery. Come on, lay out all your magical treasures, otherwise you will not be healthy. By what right? Even the elder immortal did not rob us. By what right? The black healer did not give up HMF. By the right of the strong. The elder immortal did not rob us, but he did not forbid me. I will not give it away. I barely managed to shout out the black healer, like the Kunlun fairy's leg, reinforced by her immortal technique. With force I pressed him into the ground. His body literally pressed into the ground. You, how dare you? I will complain to you, the elder immortal. Oh yes, I forgot to tell you. Life in the world of immortals is actually very free. I would not want to kill you without extreme necessity, but if I really kill you. Knowing the character of our elder, he will not do anything to me. You, what are you standing for? And you will not help. The Kunlun fairy called the rest of the saints. He, let's go, let's go. Li Qingshu and Shen Yue, king of demons, Qin Dai Dazia, Huanzhu and the rest rushed forward, right on the trinity of animals from the fallen clan, and they gave them a good thrashing, forcing them to lay out all their magic artifacts, and only after that they calmed down. These 9 winners of the race of people turned out to be so impudent, just like robbers. Some kind of spatial stones there. Some kind of miraculous pills there, magic artifacts, scrolls with secret techniques and so on. They took everything in a row, both necessary and unnecessary. A gang of old hooligans, and what to do with the trinity of animals from the fallen clan. They could not win. These 9 were too strong, so strong that they could not even think of such a level. And most importantly, all these 9 are still fruits. Their hand was especially heavy. If they did not give the treasure, they would really kill them. And they would not care if they were alive or dead. As a result, the trinity of animals, everything that they have accumulated for tens of thousands of years, was often plundered. KHM, and don't look so offended, we are saving your lives. Yeah, right, they took us by the thread and say that you are saving. This is how people are saved. I say you don't shine with your mind and you don't believe everything. Do you think we will leave all this to ourselves? PF, this is all for the elder immortal. You apparently consider yourself very smart, but here's what I want to ask. You live here and immortal was paid for the rent. In other words, this is the territory of the elder immortal. And let the elder immortal close his eyes to this. But what are you? And you really decided not to pay for housing. Without offering anything in return, you can't give anything, which means he doesn't owe you anything. There will be a mood, maybe he will throw a peace toe at, but there will be no mood, so he has every right to crush you with one little finger. The immortal elder has put his eye on your spatial stone, and you are in no hurry to pay him your respects. Do not thank him with tears. For the fact that you finally came in handy to the immortal elder, Yao still feels sorry to give it to him. And you still refuse. Well, you give. It's not so easy for the immortal elder to be interested in us or things from the world of Tsenkan, only if you are associated with him. Only then will he start counting on you, look at you with different eyes. Otherwise, how can he keep you? What benefit can you give him? For adults, the main thing is benefit. On one kindness, long-term relationships will not last. Only mutual benefit guarantees long cooperation. I don't know how you, having lived so many years, managed to let everything down to the dog's tail. You don't understand life at all. Hearing such words from the saints, the three fallen creatures seemed to have matured, and at that very moment they bitterly regretted what had happened. It was necessary to immediately offer the immortal elder something valuable. And what have we come to? They say for a reason that people are insidious and cunning. Just think, Litsensian and the rest came up with this. Just amazing. Chen Feng didn't know anything about his uncle and aunt's conversation. He was just going to their house. He didn't think it was hard for him. On the contrary, lately he has been very happy. Having freed himself from such work, he really found himself and relaxed his soul. Ara, help, quickly for help, someone help. Chen Feng fainted with horror. He hurriedly ran into Thayard and saw that his uncle was crushed by a three-wheeled motorcycle loaded with corn stalks. His whole body was under blockage. Only his head could be seen from the outside. His wife was so scared that she didn't know what to do. Chen Feng, is that you? Hurry, call for help. You alone. The woman did not have time to finish speaking. When she saw that Chen Feng had sat down, he grabbed the base of the Everton motorcycle with both hands, and he suddenly fell off the ground. Chen Feng just pushed him, and the motorcycle rolled to the other side. Uncle, are you okay, Zia? Zia Feng, he seems to be sick. Do the sick look like that? And where does he get so much strength? One powerful jerk with both hands, he managed to overturn this motorcycle. This motorcycle, along with a full body of cornstalks, weighs 250 kilograms, no less, and Chen Feng just took it and overturned it. But the main thing is the notice from the hospital about the critical condition. Didn't it say that he was seriously ill? That his body is extremely weakened. And what about time? It will be difficult for him to even walk, and in the end he will die. But Chen Feng, who stands in front of her, does not look like a sick person at all. Yes, he is as healthy as a bull. The situation was critical. Therefore Chen Feng did not hesitate, so he did not show his strength. However, he was not going to hide it. Uncle, are you sure everything is in order? Haha, everything is in order, everything is in order. I was just a little pressed. Nothing important touched. Do not worry, uncle, maybe we should still go to the hospital for an examination. It is not so expensive to sign up for an appointment and examination. Yes, everything is fine with me, nothing hurts and bothers me. I was just pressed so I could not move. We in Chen's family are all healthy. Why are you so worried? Uncle moved all his body. It was clear that he was really all right. Chen Feng sighed with relief. Zyro Feng, well, you still have strength. You just jumped up like that and in one fell swoop turned over a tricycle. But this tricycle is not light. Where did you get so much strength from? Yes, Zyro Feng. Where did you get so much strength from? This tricycle is heavy. It is impossible to lift it in 3 or 4. Haha, probably I am so strong by nature I can't tell them about my improvement. At least not yet. Otherwise uncle and aunt will think that I am crazy. Either way, uncle, you just said that we in Chen's family are all strong and healthy. Isn't it normal that I have a lot of strength? Oh, you are a bad guy. You also joke with my words, uncle, only without hands. As a child I got a lot from you. And now I have grown up, and if Yao hit me again I will be ashamed. Ha ha ha. Zyro Feng, seriously, are you sick? And is it cancer? Zyro Feng, they said in the hospital that Yao don't have much time left, that's why you decided to come back home. You are my poor boy, maybe you will move to live with us. I know you have a proud character, but we are your family, and there are no troubles for the family. Move so we can take care of you. Right, Zyro Feng, don't keep everything to yourself, don't. No matter what happens, we are always there for you. They always give me such unexpected warmth. Uncle, aunt, don't worry, I'm fine. Do I look like a sick person? Look, everything is fine with me. I'm carrying 200-300 kilograms of cargo here. Do the sick look like that? But the hospital sent us a notification about a critical condition. A notification about a critical condition. Do such notifications even send? There seems to be no such rule. Anyway, uncle and his family really found out about my illness. but now my condition has gradually stabilized. I am already improving, so cancer is nonsense for me. I used to be really weak, but now everything should be fine. Probably these are some scammers, just a mistake. Isn't everything okay with me? If I'm sick with such strength, then there are no healthy people in the world at all. Uncle, aunt, you don't have to worry about anything. I'm just fine. I came home because I was just tired of city life. I want to live in a village, that's all. Uncle and aunt looked at each other for a long time before asking, are you really not sick? Or you just don't want to worry us? Are you afraid that we will spend money on you? Don't worry, I'm as healthy as ever. Besides, if I really was sick and needed help, I would definitely contact you without hesitation. Ara, well then it's good, but when we just found out, we were so scared. We thought as soon as we finish with the corn, we'll go to you right away. Since everything is fine with you, it's just great. Uncle and aunt finally managed to breathe a sigh of relief. These doctors are swindlers, just shameless. So deceive us, damn it. They both began to scold the hospital. But making sure that everything was fine with nephew, they were still very happy. Uncle, aunt, if there is any work, let me help. You don't come to us often. Oh, don't, Siphon, you rest a little. You don't have to carry the burden. Let your uncle do it. I'm already 27 years old, and you say that I'm still a child, but in the eyes of the elders, the younger ones never grow up. But Chen Fen certainly wanted to help. Thanks to his enormous strength, he quickly collected a whole cart of corn stalks. Seeing this, the uncle finally believed that Chen Fen was really healthy, so he didn't ceremonialize anymore. It would be a pity not to use such strength. Just by the way, we have a grain here, I can't pick it up alone. You can entrust me with any hard work. Chen Fen smiled, and alone he grabbed more than 500 cornstalks with his hands, and picked it up. They say, for a reason, that we have strong genes in the Chen family. Not only are everyone capable, but also everyone has immeasurable strength. Before I started to improve, I wouldn't be able to pick up the grain. It was hard for me to even climb the can. It looks like I didn't try in vain all this time. Then, making sure that they would no longer worry, Chen Fen lent the cart and went to the village for everything necessary. Having bought everything on the list, Chen Fen returned the cart to his uncle's house. And he returned home and accepted the improvement. Now, having completed one full cycle, it was only the beginning of the 5th evening. The speed of my improvement increased by at least twice. Now in one day, I will be able to complete more than 2 full cycles, having finished improving. Chen Fen went out to the garden and saw how the Fairy Kunlun and the nameless holy sword is preparing for the duel. Fairy Kunlun, you and I were the first to make a breakthrough. Let's fight. Let's see what we have achieved in recent improvement. Let's fight, but not seriously. What do you say? This Fairy Kunlun is incredibly beautiful, and the proportions of her figure are simply amazing. Not a single internet celebrity with retouched photos, not a single star impeccable from any angle, cannot be compared to the beauty of the Fairy Kunlun. Her only drawback is that she is too miniature. Well, I have long wanted to compete with you in the art of the sword. Last time we collided in the lower world. Then we exchanged blows at a distance of 1,000. Since then I have been looking for an opportunity. Fight with you in a real duel. The Fairy Kunlun is very strong. In the lower world she founded the Order of Kunlun, whose glory thundered everywhere. This cannot be achieved by one beauty alone. In the lower world she was revered as the first hollow maiden of antiquity, then not without a purpose. Myriad arrows. The nameless holy sword turned one blade into 10,000. Countless white swords like a whirlwind arose behind his back, and darkening the sky. Avalanches rushed to the Fairy Kunlun. Immortal seal Kunlun. The fairy folded her hands in a seal. A huge sphere of light enveloped her. On her surface, all kinds of ancient runes were built. Kun. The attack of the Fairy Kunlun was slightly different from the one that she used against the spider. Something new appeared in her, but the strengthening of these runes was too insignificant. With their current strength, they still cannot defeat the spider that pursued them last time, under the tree. The Fairy Kunlun and the nameless holy sword have already come together in a fierce fight. A stream of blades, like a tide, tried to swallow the Fairy Kunlun, but every flying sword touching thelite sphere of the Fairy Kunlun either flew away or crumbled into pieces. Fairy Kunlun. Si Lunfen, a monster similar to a bronze statue, escaped from the light sphere of the Fairy Kunlun and rushed at the nameless holy sword, and the Fairy Kunlun achieved a lot. Having said that, the nameless holy sword folded its fingers in the sign of the sword, forming a complex seal. The path of the sword Sensuan, from a spark the size of a finger arose a huge fiery sword. His anger took shape. The giant sword and the azure dragon fiercely collided, boom. And at this time Suila and the nameless holy sword with the Fairy Kunlun were thrown off by an explosive wave. I was right, you are not from this era. You are the resurrected Ancient Supreme. And if I'm not mistaken, you are the Holy Sword Sensuan, one of the Ancient Supreme. Yes, the nameless Holy Sword was permeated with the aura of the Ancient Supreme. With her the Fairy Kunlun faced in her youth, entering the Secret Kingdom, and having suffered a defeat she clearly remembers this. Then she almost died because of this. The Fairy Kunlun really has great wisdom. You can't hide anything from you. I have long suspected that you are not from this era. Well, there really is nothing you can do. In ancient times it was predicted that the gate could only be opened by an immortal deer from the Tizin clan. Therefore, I could only hide and wait. It looks like this is related to some great secret off the world of the perfected. But for Chen Fanita it seems it didn't matter, not to hide for how many years, and all for the sake of rising to this damn place called the Blue Star for the sake of this goal. You really did not spare your strength. HMF, when I was walking along the path of the Tao, one of the ancient supreme attacked me from Thepath. I was on the verge of death, and my Tao barely unfurled. Since then I have sworn that I will find all the henchmen of those supreme, and I will take revenge. Fairy, don't get me wrong, I license you and have always acted honestly and openly. The one who attacked you was someone else. He was afraid not to put the fairy Kunlun, and did not want to start an intercourse in this dangerous immortal world. Now the main thing is to unite in order to survive. I have never interfered in the race of the example of Tsinkan, you yourself know this. The word of the saint is indestructible, he has no need to lie. Immortal Kunlun cast a glance at the saints around her. Is there really an offspring of the ancient supreme among them too? Under her piercing gaze, the rest of the saints frowned, but they didn't say anything. They are all supreme saints, and each of them has an incredibly strong spirit. None of them considers themselves weaker than others, even if the first holy woman of antiquity is in front of them. I looked up at these little men from above. Think only these little men. In fact, they conflict with each other. Rivals, hunters, intrigues for the sake of ascension, for the sake of living to the right time for ascension. They build a whole eternity of blacksmiths, killing countless strong of this world. What a grandiose plan. If a novel was written about this, then each of these little men would be the main character. You can't tell millions of words about their lives, I'm afraid. HMF, past offenses are put aside for now, but that doesn't mean I'm weak when the time comes. I will definitely demand an answer from everyone who dared to attack me, even if I am a woman, but I will not allow anyone to humiliate myself. On the faces of the rest, I still did not shake a muscle. Absolute calm. You are a weak woman, then in this world there are no strong women at all. I'm sorry, senior immortal, I put myself on the laughing stock. In fact, personal affairs should not be taken to the general public, but the conflict is a conflict. If it is not resolved, it will remain a hidden threat. No, your offenses do not interest me, and all the more I am not going to interfere in your affairs. My main goal now is improvement, and solving the problem with my cancer. Where do I get the time and energy to get involved in the disassembly of such little men like you? Senior immortal is wise and reasonable. Therefore, of course, you do not have time for our personal affairs. Senior, do not worry, our personal affairs we solve only between ourselves. We will not bother the senior. Senior immortal, I have one humble request for you. I don't know if it's appropriate. What do you have? Today I have achieved success and improvement. I feel my strength has increased incredibly. I would like to challenge you, senior, to see what level I have reached in this world. I don't know, could you, senior, teach me a lesson? Licentiate, decided to challenge me. I did not hear. Do you want to challenge me? Well, not to challenge, I just want to test my strength. And so that you, senior, point out to me mistakes in improvement. It was too careless in my words now. In short, you can't just challenge. If the higher immortal really accepts the challenge, he can pat me with one blow and no one will say a word. Challenge, this battle is not for life but for death. My skills have really improved, but the difference between me and the higher immortal is still like between heaven and earth, whatever. Let's just say I accept your challenge. Forget about the challenge, I have agreed, I don't want to die. Senior, then I ask you, be humble, do not worry, you can use all your strength. I also want to see, after your breakthrough, what level your power has reached. Please, don't say the word challenge anymore. My heart freezes from it, and now licentiate will apply all the strength of his improvement. The path of the sword of licentiate. Countless flying swords materialized from the air. Each of them was the size of more than a basketball ball. Countless flying swords rushed to Chen Feng. This technique stunned all the saints present. It is obvious that in the duel with the fairy Kunlun licentiate restrained, he didn't even use his power. Is he really so powerful? The first holy sword of ancient times. The glory of it is not in vain. But when the sphere of 10,000 arrows rushed to Chen Feng with one click of his fingers scattered these myriad of arrows. 10,000 arrows in one. Licentiate concentrated his path of the sword, and there was a holy sword, packed with ancient runes, enhanced by the original power of Licentiate. Moreover, he used the runes of his true path of origin to enhance the giant sword. And although he was called a giant, in fact he was not wider than 2 fingers. Great honorable, take care. Licentiate, man and sword became one whole. His body was covered with countless patterns of the sword. These are the bone runes of the sword. According to legend, these are the most perfect runes off the path of the sword, which appeared during the creation of the world. Imprinted in the very body, they allow the owner to become the embodiment of the original purpose of the sword and gain strength, the superior power of the saint. And Licentiate managed to master them. Truly great fate, so what a trump card Licentiate had, and what a powerful one. Worthy of the title of the first holosword of antiquity. The saints who watched the battle were shocked. But even Licentiate, who achieved unity with the sword, His holy sword of runes was still broken with one click of Chen Feng's finger. Crumbled in one moment, licentiate was knocked out of his state, and fell to the ground. This honorable immortal Musesh, he is just monstrously strong. Licentiate used so many techniques, but he could not withstand a single click of his fingers, a monster among monsters. You have become stronger, I didn't notice something. You attack in the same way as before, or your strength has increased so insignificantly that I just didn't feel it, and I have already suffered metamorphosis. You seriously did not notice the difference. What a failure, but in fact, Chen Feng really did not feel anything between the previous licentiate and the current one. How much difference is there in Thea strength? The expression of Chen Feng's face was not ridiculous, he just stated the fact. From this, the little man's hair on his head moved even stronger. What kind of creature is this immortal mentor? Incredibly strong, little wise men. Once again, they were convinced that there was a gap between them and Chen Feng. After talking a little with the little men, everyone went about their business. Chen Feng took the seeds bought on the market and planted them in the ground. According to Tohai's plan, he planted vegetables that he loves to eat. Ordinary vegetables. In a month or two it will be possible to eat. Earlier, when Chen Feng was returning home, he was afraid that he would not have time to eat vegetables from his garden. But now he was full of confidence. Having planted vegetables and dinner, Chen Feng went on vacation. The next day he was awakened by a persistent call from his mobile phone. He shook his hand on the pillow for a long time, felt the phone and dreamily muttered, "Hello, who is it? Who? You're still asking, who is it? Chen Feng, did you not recognize me by voice? Are you tired of working? Yes. Come on, get out of bed quickly and take care of the work plan that I sent you. This plan is urgently needed by the client. Just try to screw up and you can say goodbye to the bonus for this month." "Yes, boss, I'm already doing it." "Stop, what the hell, I quit. Why am I even listening to this moron? Is the work so ingrained in the subcortex that the body reacts automatically? I'll give you 2 hours, I need a ready-made plan, otherwise I will deduct it from your bonus to the devils." "Yes, who gave up your own bonus, fucking worker? Come on, get out of here. In the morning it's better to prevent people from sleeping. Are you sick or what?" He immediately hung up the phone. One word, a thrill. During all the time of my communication with the management of the company, this was the most pleasant conversation. And yet that phrase, the true truth, forget about decency and enjoy a shameless life. It's so nice to live without conscience. As soon as I threw away decency, it immediately eased my soul. That boss called again. Chinfen picked up the phone. "Oh yeah. Oh you Chinfen, you your mother, how dare you talk to me like that? What are you? You don't want to work anymore, do you? Do you even know how many people dream of this job? Come in, pack up your stuff and get out of here. Yes, I curse you. And what about it? Who do you build out of yourself a successful person? You build yourself decent on people. And in the company you are zero without a stick. The salary is kopeck, and you behave as if you are not giving mercy. My work for you is a mutually beneficial exchange. I don't live on your service. What the hell are you? You imagined yourself a king and a god. Yes, look at yourself, but with a crooked nose, bald eyes. It's not surprising that your wife ran away from you. And most importantly, you don't even understand what kind of freak you are. You at least know, you are like a toad in a stony ditch. You sit in your puddle like a frog and dream about a swan, rolled your lips. And yet, shameless people are the happiest. Send someone you don't like. This is such a pleasure, no depression. You're done. You crossed the road for me. Let's see how you will linger in the company now. I will deprive you of all bonuses to kopeck. It will make you work the hardest job. I will take revenge on you cruelly. Are you completely crazy? Yes, who gave up this is your Shurashkina office. I have long since resigned. Are you stupid? Having said that, Chimfin immediately threw the tube. It's time to rest. Who will go to work now? And the former boss at the other end of the wire was in a great mood. Even the sun outside the window seemed so nice. I have a serious suspicion that I used to be unhappy because I was under constant psychological pressure. Even the fact that I got cancer was a result of many years of oppression. Having thrown a stick with the former boss out of his head, Chimfin went to the garden as usual. Every day he went to check how little humans live there. After all, life here is quite dangerous. At any moment, wandering cats or dogs could attack the little ones. Having encountered the sea monsters, the little ones could not survive. Waking up, the first thing he went to see if the little ones survived, and only then, with a calm soul, he began to improve himself. Senior Hunter, you are finally here. Chinfin only approached the house in branches. As soon as he saw that little humans were impatiently waiting for him, there was panic and helplessness in their eyes. Something happened, animals attacked. What happened? Li Qingshuan and Kunlun Qingxian, they it seems are dying. Senior Immortal, I beg you, examine them. What about them? The monster attacked. It seems they got sick. Got sick? What nonsense. Can the risen ones get sick? For the first time I hear that the risen ones are sick. However, this is not surprising, because this group of the risen ones was abnormal from the Verabjining. The risen ones shake the sky and the earth from other people, and my risen ones, they can bet crushed with a finger. Who else will get sick if not you? What kind of thing is this that almost killed 2 of the Ricenons? Soon the immortal Kunlun and Li Qingshuan. Other saints were carried out, both of them were sick, and they were lying on the stretchers, woven from weeds. Their appearance was completely lifeless. The The stretchers from weeds were very primitive, but at the moment, this is the best that the Sessaints could have done. Honorable ancestor, take a look. It is not clear what kind of disease it is, because of which they were on the verge of death in one night. What a terrible disease. The higher world is directly incredibly dangerous. You have to constantly beware of not only terrible demons and strange deadly laws, so now they are also worried about sudden diseases. Even the saints cannot overcome this disease. As for me, I don't get sick at all. Any harmful rules are powerless against my body. Any cultivator will envy this immortal and invulnerable golden body. These two little men look like they're about to die. But I'm not a doctor. And what should I do? Don't call me a doctor so that he can treat these little men. Yes, well, some kind of nonsense. Such tiny little men, even if you really call a doctor. He is unlikely to be able to cure them. I report, honorable immortal, they got sick last night. Both of them are thrown into the cold, then into the heat. Their foreheads are burning as if in fire. Voices are gone. Only wheezing is heard from the throat. And they coughed non-stop. Chen Feng came closer to take a closer look at them. But the little men on the stretchers were too tiny. He looked at it for a long time, but it was useless. He could only get his phone out of despair and go back to the forum about monsters to ask a question. Question: if you had your own Lilliputian country and the little men got sick in it. Model: he is thrown into the heat, then into the cold. The forehead is very hot. The throat is swollen and hurts. The nose is closed. The nose is running. How can I cure these little men? How did they get sick? They are already lying in bed. It seems they can't get out of bed. I'm waiting for an answer online. Urgently, brothers. Very urgently. Yes, you have rewatched the series, no other way. I also made up some kind of Lilliputian country for myself. Why not tell you right away that you are practicing immortality, a little man, and there are girls in your country. She got sick, if so let her undress first. You examine her well, do not miss any serious disease. I kind of saw this. Last time he also wrote a review. What an idiot. The commentator above is just retarded. He has mango puree in his head instead of brains. Oh, what a shame. Judging by my 13-year experience of working as a veterinarian, if nothing unforeseen happened to your little men, it means it will happen soon. Because since they can't get out of bed, it's serious. But I, like a veterinarian, have one remedy. I guarantee that it will help right away. What remedy? If I'm not mistaken, your little men most likely just caught a cold. Give them a couple of cold pills and they will immediately get better. A cold, it's that simple. Hey Fourth, are you sure? You are a veterinarian, can you treat people? And what's the difference between a human and an animal? Besides, since he has an exacerbation of the 8th grade syndrome, and he claims that he has a country off Lilliputians, then why can't I act as a healer on behalf of a veterinarian? And in general, those symptoms that the author wrote, any medical student knows that it's just a cold, okay? Isn't it enough to take a cold pill and go to bed? What's so difficult about it? And these people with the 8th grade syndrome are still desperately putting up shields. Meanwhile, Chen Feng turned off his phone. After reminding the veterinarian, Chen Feng carefully examined the condition of Kunlun Xingxian Licensuania. They really just caught a cold. They didn't catch a cold yesterday by any chance. Yes, last night there was a cold wind. It was freezing cold. Everyone's arms and legs were numb. We all returned to the shelter to warm up. But these two are too stubborn. Especially after the honorable immortal constantly threw them away, they decided that they could no longer be so weak. And so they went down. And so they continued to train. Well then, you know what happened. The weather is already starting to change for the autumn, and at night it is often cool, not to mention these ridiculous weak little people. Even ordinary adults can easily catch a cold. Wait here, I'll be right back and make them some medicine. Chen Feng returned to his room and boiled a cup of water. Then he got the remaining medicine from the cold. If you give them a whole capsule, these little people will definitely not be able to swallow it. After thinking a little, Chen Feng opened the capsule, poured out the powder and mixed it with hot water. Having finished this, Chen Feng brought them too. I brought you some medicine. Let the two of them drink. Honorable immortal, what kind of medicine is this? Medicine from the disease. Seeing that Chen Feng does not want to explain anything, the little people did not dare to ask more. But to their surprise, this unknown decoction acted very quickly, and the two of them immediately felt better. This decoction is very effective. It is not in vain that this thing is immortal. It can really resurrect from the dead. They looked at Chen Feng with all great reverence. A thing from the kingdom of the immortals. The inhabitants of the kingdom of the immortals are incomprehensible. Especially this honorable immortal. He is just all-powerful. God is God. In the lower world we are saints, like heavenly deities. And here Chen Feng is for us, like a real deity. And Chen Feng, seeing that the medicine from the cold helped, involuntarily sighed with relief. If only it helped, others have risen invincible in the entire universe. They crush the heavens, the earth, and the air itself. They destroy everything and everyone in one moment, and my risen only because they did not sleep all night, improving. And it got a little cold, they managed to catch a cold. And most importantly, some kind of cold almost led them both to the grave. Well, tell me, have these risen not abused? The fairy Kunlun took the medicine, all in a sweat. She soon woke up slowly. Thank you, honorable immortal, for saving my life. The fairy Kunlun will never forget this. Do not move, take a rest and recover. For now, refrain from training. First, completely correct yourself, and then it will be seen. It is not worth it to raise the level. Train so hard, and then you will still pick up some micordite, and this is deadly dangerous. Micordite, what is it? But since this is a warning of the immortal, then I will not improve. She was in too much of a hurry. Improvement needs to be moved gradually. A hurry can lead to many problems. Chen Feng saw that everything was fine with the little men. He gave them a few pats, and he took a large piece of beef for himself. Get ready to meditate and improve. Wow, this phone rang again. What's wrong with this boss? He got a little, didn't he? I'll put it on silent, throw it aside and continue practice. He didn't want to work to death because of some pathetic money. Having driven the inner energy through one heavenly cycle, Chen Feng felt a pleasant lightness throughout his body. Not bad, the strength has increased again. Growth is not as fast as in the previous few days. Butt thighs is still progress. The state of the body has improved a little again. Tendons and bones are in perfect order. Tissue and blood circulate freely. I feel even better than before the disease. Wow, just an hour and a little. This time I completed own heavenly cycle. Surprisingly, much faster than last time. This can be considered a high-quality leap. This means that now in one day I will be able to perform 2 heavenly cycles. My strength will grow twice as fast. With such speed, the breakthrough to the first level of practice is not far behind. However, while I was doing it here, the boss, I don't know what he found on him, literally tore off my phone. In just one morning, 23 missed calls. Did he fall in love with this? It was decided that I would add him to the blacklist. And then the phone rang again. Hesitating for a moment, Chen Feng replied, "Hello, what do you want? What, are you offended and want to yell in response? I advise you not to be ashamed, because in the dictionary you can't beat me." Chen Feng, I reached out to you with such difficulty. He did not dare to come out of himself. On the contrary, his voice was kind and pleasant. Zyro Feng, maybe there was some kind of misunderstanding between us. Nowadays it's not easy to find a job. If you quit, it will be very difficult for you to settle down. Let's do it better. Go back to work. I'll pretend nothing happened. For all the time of your absence, I will pay Yao both salary and bonus for attendance. Let's assume that you were on paid leave. How do you like that? Yes, I have already achieved enlightenment. Whoever needs it, let him work on this lousy job. And I passed, I deserved it. Yes, and how disgustingly this boss overreacted. Clearly not because of caring form. Come on, look for someone better. I'm no longer a foot in this Sharishkin's office. And one more thing, since you are so humiliated in front of me, I beg you to return to work. So there is a problem with the project. Did you really understand that without me in this position, no one can handle it? Well, yes, what is capable of that snotty trainee? That old grouch who doesn't mean anything, but pretends he knows everything. And that scoundrel who can only lick his ass for the sake of promotion. Yes, they are not capable of anything. Having heard the words of Chen Fen, the boss blinked and kept silent for a long time. It looks like I guessed. Chen Fen, you know that the company has difficulties. So please just help us, come back, finish the project. And then if you want to leave, leave. Okay. I thought that the old grouch and the newbie, the trainee, were so cool. I thought they could easily replace Chen Fen. Who would have known that they just let dust into their eyes? As soon as Chen Fen left, their department became absolutely useless. If you don't come back, the project will fail. I'm afraid, and our company won't last long. Heh, no, you got something wrong. I owe you something. And in general, what do I care that your company is on the verge of collapse? When I was here, you didn't appreciate me. You also mistakenly believed that anyone could replace me. And now when problems arose, you remembered about me. Yes, go to hell. Who needs you? I'm practicing immortality here, Zyrofen, don't be angry. Before my brains were really full of fat, I just didn't appreciate your talent. Come on, just come back and I'll pay you double, oh no, triple. Triple, wow, how generous. Looks like you're in big trouble this time, but I repeat, it doesn't concern me. To be used and thrown out again, I'm not such a fool. Yan Fen, don't be so heartless. Remember how you didn't have a job, who gave you a chance to work, who gave you the opportunity to study, who invested in you, the company gave you so many benefits. And this is how you thank the company. Why are you so selfish? Hee hee, you really don't have everything right in your head. Work is just an exchange of values. What else? Education and development. In addition, my past investments in the company did not correspond at all to what I received. He was not going to spend a word on this person anymore, and hung up. In any case, he has already transferred all his work, received a salary. With this company, he had nothing to do with anything else. The boss immediately sent a message. Zyro Fen, I got hot. What do you want? To help us deal with this problem. Chen Fen didn't even look. He threw his phone aside. I cooked myself lunch and ate. Then he crumpled a huge piece of beef and continued his practice. Beef is really the most suitable for a person. High-protein product. If I could eat enough beef every day, then my progress and improvement would definitely go faster. And so another cycle ended. After finishing practice, Chen Fen opened his eyes. He slowly exhaled the stagnant air. Circulation went surprisingly smoothly. Before, I always felt some kind of interference. And today everything went smoothly, as if by oil. Chen Fen got up on his feet. What lightness in the whole body. He carefully did a couple of tricks, each of them whistled through the air. The strength not only increased, but the body, it seems, has become stronger, but not stronger in the usual sense of the word. It's just that the strength of my skin has increased. Small scratches and abrasions can no longer leave a trace on it. They say that if you reach the peak of improvement, you can, as in the novels about spells, hold the sun and the moon in your hands, tear the stars from the sky, and there will be no unequal in the whole world. Okay, let's go, don't swing too much. The path to improvement is very difficult. There are countless practitioners in the world of spells, but I haven't seen anything that many have reached such heights to become such a master. I'm afraid of chances even less than going to Tsinghua University or Beta, this time for a full cycle. It took only 3 hours, wow, but my very first cycle took a whole day. This is progress. This Wang, is he completalistic? I'll call him again, say hello, father dear. Yes, I will call you my own father. I beg you, help at least this time, just fix the error in the program, and I will do everything you say. Chen Feng first wanted to block him. But then he changed his mind and answered, so do you want me to help?